Thanks to the support as a channel member, Gareth O'Brien. One step away from a Europa League quarter-final, 10 points clear at the top of the league, into the semi-final of the Greek Cup. That pay rise must be coming now, surely. Hello and welcome to part 43 of the Greek Odyssey. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have the second leg of our Europa League second knockout round game against BESIKTAS and a very important league game against PAOK. Since you were last with me, we managed to get beaten by Olympiakos in the first leg of the Greek Cup semi-final. Olympiakos just beat us a lot. They really do beat us a lot. We've got the second leg of that coming up. Probably in tomorrow's video, depending on what happens in the Europa League, we'll probably have the we might even have an Olympiakos double-header with the league game and the other leg of the semi-final, but we might have that interrupted by a Europa League game, which could also be against Olympiakos, depending on how things go, because the draw has shaped up like this. If we have a look at the quarter-final draw, it's going to be... in fact, it's definitely against Olympiakos. They must have played last night. Wow, that is not what I wanted to see. They beat Benfica. So if we get past BESIKTAS, the reward is yet another game against Olympiakos over 2 legs. That would make it 8 meetings between the two of us over the course of this season in 3 different competitions. It would also mean guaranteed Greek team in the semi-final, which has got to be a good thing for the coefficient of Greek football, which is going to help us all long term, which is no bad thing at all. But of course, job one is to get past BESIKTAS. We're 1-0 up after the first leg, and we're going to try and finish the job today. This is what the league looks like. As I say, 10 points clear of Olympiakos. They do have a game in hand, and we do still have to play them twice more. Hopefully we don't have too many games like the one we've just had against Offie, where we were a bit offy our game. It's comedy. It's really good, isn't it? I hope we don't bottle it. We're in a strong position at the moment. Let's finish the season strongly, because that looks good right now. Apart from that column, we don't need to worry about that column. But all the other columns looking great. Let's beat BESIKTAS. This is the team that's going out there to try and do that. We've got Mendy in goal. We've got a back four of Pritchard, Michaelis, Lawson and Kalapitas. Lebrou at the base of the midfield. Duffy and Bozic ahead of him. And then Dura, Marola and Damien as our front 3. So let's get into the game. Let's try and set up yet another game against Olympiakos. I'm getting fed up of facing them. But, you know, if at the end of this season we've beaten them more times than we've lost to them, then I guess that's how you got to be the man. You got to beat the man, and Olympiakos are very much the man here in Greece. So I guess we just have to do things a hard way. It is frustrating that they're in our way in the Europa League as well now, potentially. But of course, worrying about that would mean assuming we're going to get past BESIKTAS, which is a big risk to take. Although we have never lost to them in our 5 meetings that we've had previous to this one, we've won 4, drawn 1. There's always a first time. And like I say, we are starting to stutter a little bit as everyone starts to realise just how well this season's going and what potentially could be the outcome of what's going on. And I think we're all starting to panic a little bit. We'll be fine. Marola's in here, and a goal there for Marola would have been very, very, very useful. It was not to be, though. Both Marola and Damien slowing down a lot with the goals scored recently, and we don't really have much in the way of options outside of them, at least that are immediately available. Kouami's injured. Traore's out on loan at Panathinaikos for the rest of the season. Do we have another striker? There's not one immediately coming to mind. Damien's in there, and it's a decent effort from Damien, but well saved from the BESIKTAS keeper. And now Michaelis charging forward, trying to keep the attack going. Dura with the cross. It just eludes Damien, and BESIKTAS are able to get it clear and trying to get a counter-attack going of their own. Lawson's been beaten for pace there, and BESIKTAS are in, and luckily Mendy keeps us out of trouble. On the topic of Ryan Lawson, one day before he was due to gain his or become eligible for Greek citizenship, he was called up to the full Portugal squad. Those games haven't been played yet, so he's still not actually played for Portugal. So I'm still not 100% sure that means there's no chance of him ever playing for Greece. But I suspect there's no chance of him playing for Greece because I think Portugal very much planning to use him to stop that from happening, which is just mean. I want him for Greece for the future, but apparently what I want doesn't matter. Cross comes in from the corner. It's headed just over from, I think, Jura. It must have been Damien. I must have misread it. Jura would have been the one taking the corner. So I don't know how he would have got on the end of it. Talking of Jura, he's got a counter-attack going on here. And it was, at one point, looked like it might be 3-on-2 for us there. But Jura taking his time a little bit too much and does get caught by the tackle. But Kalapitas wins the ball back from the clearance, and it's Bozic playing it down to Marola, who's come very, very central here to try and tee up a Marola special. But it goes just over from the edge of the area, and it's still 0-0 on the night, 1-0 to us on aggregate. Far too tight and uncomfortable for my liking. I'd like some goals now, please, because if we get knocked out here with it's a draw that's potentially opening up in front of us, because yes, although Olympiakos beat us consistently, we know on our day we can beat Olympiakos. It's not like it's it's not like it's going to be a quarter-final against Bayern Munich or someone utterly unbeatable. It would be a quarter-final against a team we've beaten multiple times in recent years. Although they beat us more often than we beat them, we've beaten them multiple times. And that's a route to a European semi-final, which is an absolutely ridiculous thing to even be thinking of. But it's there. It's potentially available. But we have to get past this potential banana skin first. And Besiktas really don't seem like they're playing ball. Lawson does well to win the ball back and just cut that attack off at the root. And Damien plays it forward to Jura. Jura all the way back to Michaelis, though, as Besiktas continue to defend very well. Pritchard to Duffy, who's got a little bit of space there, finds Kalapitas, nods it down to Bozic. We've got Lebrou hovering in a pocket of space as well, but we don't need him because Bozic is just going to hit it from the edge of the area. It's only his second ever goal for Apollon, but there couldn't have been a more important time for him to grab it. It's 1-0 to Apollon on the night, 2-0 on aggregate. We, of course, have the away goal from the first leg as well, and although we're not home and dry, we're at the edge of our street and the sun's drying out the top of our shirt around the shoulders. Is that what that even means? Yeah, I assume it's somebody who's been out swimming in the local river in their clothes. I think we'll leave that there. And that is a poor pass, and Besiktas are in. And Mendy is having a good game. Besiktas have had 3 clear-cut chances in this game. And I think it is a very, very small group of Mendy haters who were big Brunoli fans. In fact, I don't think it's even fair to say there's Mendy haters. There's people who would have preferred to keep Brunoli. But Mendy's proving time and again he's at least as good as Brunoli was and has made some very, very important saves today. With a lesser goalkeeper, this is we're in a bit of a sticky situation right now. Damien heads the ball, but there was no one up supporting him, so he had no one to really try and flick it onto. He did well to win it in the air, but we were never going to retain possession with nobody up there supporting him, and we need to make sure we're not going too defensive. They've been told to continue being positive. That's what I'm looking for, but that does mean men need to continue getting forward. Jura to Duffy, finds Bozic. There's Marola, skips past his man nicely. That is a Marola special. If you knew and you were wondering what I meant before, that's what Marola does. Let's look at it from the other angle. This is enough to book us into the quarterfinals now, I am sure. Bozic just rolls it into the path of Marola, skips past his man, and then just hits it really, really hard into the top corner. Lovely stuff from Marola. A 23rd goal of the season for him. Just as I said, he was starting to cool off for the goals. That's 23 goals from the wing. Just don't let your performance levels drop. We're 2-0 up on the night, 3-0 up on aggregate. Olympiakos await in the quarterfinal. And I think they're probably licking their lips as much as we are because they know they've got our number. But it could just be we've spent the last 4 years lulling them into a false sense of security because we always knew this big European clash was coming. And of course, they won't be the first Greek team we've faced in this year's Europa League. We already knocked AEK out at the qualifying playoff round. So we'll just keep... It's going to be the Greek Europa League this year. PAOK are still in it as well. We are surely going to get to the point where we're going to start bumping up that coefficient and starting to get some more favourable qualifying conditions, because as we've seen the last couple of years, having to get through multiple rounds of Champions League qualifying is why there's 4 Greek teams in the Europa League. Damien's in, and Damien scores, and that's 3-0 now, and we are through. And the Georgios Kamaras has come alive with excitement, absolutely packed out. Only 742 Besiktas fans have made the relatively short journey, and we've just filled the rest of the ground with very excited Apollon fans who they can probably... I imagine Olympiakos can hear us from just down the road as we taunt them and warn them that we're coming to spoil their European adventure, just like we're trying to spoil their dominance of the Greek Super League. But Besiktas aren't done yet. They're continuing to come back at us. Lebrew does very well to just win the tackle, though. I think he's on 3 or 4 caps for Greece now, so he's starting to accumulate the international caps and really establishing himself as Greece's starting defensive midfielder. It won't be long before I think Chios is on 5 caps, but not a regular starter. So I think Lebrew is on the verge of becoming our most capped currently active player. We've got Androutsos as well, who still gets called up for every squad despite never really playing for us. He's down on our bench again today, but I don't think he's ever been a regular starter for the national team either, whereas Lebrew, I think, is the first one who's really established himself as a regular, I won't say key part of the Greek team yet, because he's still only played 3 or 4 games, but he's the closest to establishing himself as that. Ready for when I come in and take over and play him every single game, because that's what I've done for the last however many years at Apollon. Just keep playing him. Remember when all the talk was about how many defensive midfielders we have? Yikes, Mendy. Lebrew was so good, he's killed off all the rest of them. Most of them have left the club now. Most of them never fulfilled their potential because Lebrew never gave them the opportunity to. And I know some people will try and use that as an example of me not developing youth. I will throw back in your face, Lebrew is our youth. We developed him. We committed to him. We developed him. And we've developed a player who's having a fantastic performance in a major European game, is a regular international, and is still wanted by multiple clubs across Europe. So we can develop a player when we need to. We have with Lebrew. We did with Lawson. We did with Kalapitis. We did with Chios. We will with Todd Thomas, who's hovering down there on the bench, as you can see. And there'll be more. There'll always be more coming off this conveyor belt. Right, for my final change, we need to look at fitness. Kalapitis is struggling, so let's bring Juan on for him. At right back, that long throw will be the last contribution of Kalapitis. Bozic wins the ball back. In fact, Kalapitis has got the ball again. It wasn't his last contribution at all. Cross looking for Marola. It falls to Pritchard, who's got a shooting opportunity. It's his first ever goal for Apollon, and what a way to get it. 4-0 now. It's the second time this season we've beaten Besiktas 4-0. It's the 6th time we've played Besiktas in the last 2 seasons. They must be sick of the sight of us. We've beaten them 5 times, lost to them once. They must be hoping they never get drawn against us in European football ever again, because as much as Olympiakos have got our number, we have Besiktas' number, and we just beat them over and over and over again. We have a lovely time doing it. It's a lot of fun. They've just got a goal back, but who cares? We've already absolutely thumped them. It doesn't matter. They can get 2 more goals back if they want. There's no time for them to get back into this game. Don't tempt the game, Kev. You've played it before. You know it's possible. But luckily, it's now not. And there is the confirmation that we have won the tie. We are through to the quarter-final of the Europa League. I did not expect a European quarter-final to be on the cards this early in this series. And there we have it. It's Olympiakos again. Let's look at the schedule, which is just going to be Olympiakos written over and over. We are playing Olympiakos 4 times in a row in 3 different competitions. It was a couple of episodes ago I called an episode Passing the Torch. That feels... I mean, April 2024 is the month where potentially history will look back as the moment where Apollon became Greece's #1 team. Or where Olympiakos put us back in our place and went on to win multiple things. It's going to be an interesting one. First, we have to play PAOK, though. Right, folks, savour this. This is going to be the last time in a little while you see us play anybody other than Olympiakos. We've made quite a few changes just because we had some very, very tired bodies off the back of the game we've just played. Duffy all the way down to 85% conditioning after that game. So we're going with Mendy in goal. A back four of Kalapitas, Kios, Lawson and Juan. Michaelis is going to be the defensive midfielder today with Itebo and Bozic ahead of him. And then Marola, Damien and Minor are going to be up front. We play PAOK. It's a very important game because we have got Olympiakos breathing down our neck. Obviously, you know all about how we're playing them pretty soon. But PAOK are in a form team, and we've got to beat them. We have to beat them, because if we lose this, it then potentially becomes just a 7-point gap over Olympiakos, with them having a game in hand and playing us twice, and they then have things back in their hands. They'll be in a position, if we lose this game, where if Olympiakos win every game they've got left, they win the league again. So we've got to win this to keep things in our hands. And Marola hits the crossbar, I think, early on. Yeah, it's been ticked up as woodwork. It is the crossbar. And we could have really done with that going in. Goodness me, could we have done with that going in? I've been sat here pondering how I'm going to do the next couple of episodes. And I think the only solution, I hope you don't feel that it's boring, because they're all important games. I think the next 2 episodes are going to be the 4 games against Olympiakos. I'm looking at them and I can't think that there's one that I don't want to show you. Maybe the first leg in Europe, but if I'm going to show you 3, I may as well show you all 4. What we should do is reach out to them, get Mrs Wearmouth to reach out to their Mrs Wearmouth equivalent and say, look, can we just play once at a neutral venue and have that count for all the competitions? UEFA might not agree to it. We might have to play both legs in the Europa League, but let's count those results for the domestic stuff so we don't have to keep playing each other, because it's absolutely mad. But then I guess if we beat them 4 times in a row, which is really unlikely, but if we beat them 4 times in a row, we'll be very happy. Right, far from pleased with what I've just seen. Let's fire them up. I mean, I would be happy with just the 1 win out of those 4, and that 1 win being in the league, because if we beat them in the league, we're going to win the league, and winning the league is our priority this year. No matter what happens in Europe, we're not winning the Europa League. Neither are they. Neither of us are winning the Europa League. Damien scores, and that is an important goal. A very, very important goal. The Greek Cup, we won that last year, so that's not a priority. So yes, we play them 4 times. As long as we beat them in the league, they can have all the other 3. I might try and make that deal with them. They're not catching us in the league regardless, as it stands, so they might be up for the deal. They've got a better chance of going and winning the Europa League than we have. We know how good a side they are. They just had a slow start to this season. It's like a reversal of last year. We had a slow start, and by the time we got good, they were uncatchable. And looking at that league table, as things stand, I'm hoping the roles are reversed. They had a slow start while we started very strongly. And although they're now beating us every time we play them, hopefully we've got enough of a gap to be uncatchable. Right, Damien. Nice little turn from Damien. We have a little breakaway move on here. There's players supporting him. He doesn't want them. No, I said want, not need, because I think he probably did need them. Although, has he won a penalty here? The ref is doing the long, slow jog to the little telly. Go on, ref, go into the other half. He didn't go into the other half. That must mean something. That must be significant. The ref didn't go into... The ref always goes into the other half. Come on, ref. Are we getting a penalty here? Penalty? Penalty! Huzzah! Who's our... Damien, I guess, is our penalty taker. Although that looks like Marola, because he's teeing up on the left-hand side. It is Marola to put us 2-0 up over PAOK. And he does. And that is huge. 12 points clear at the top of the league. Yes, Olympiakos have a game in hand. Yes, we got to play the twice. We know the situation, Kev. I know, but I'm excited. We could win the league here. Let me have my moment. How often do we get ourselves into positions like this? This is exciting. Bozic. Poor pass from Bozic, but luckily they did nothing with it. And Kalapitas lumps it over the top for Damien to chase. Damien, I'm going to call that an audacious effort, because he just casually, I think he's just trying to side foot that into the corner. He's noticed there's a gap, but just didn't put enough bend on it. If it had worked, it would have been absolutely stupendous. As it was, it just looked a little bit lazy. Minor now. Good ball forward for Damien to chase. Damien is in here again, and Damien this time doesn't quite hit it hard enough, so when the keeper gets a hand on it, it actually goes wide. It's very similar to the goal that he scored, but he hit that one so hard it went in anyway. Damien collects from the corner, tries to be fancy and loses the ball, but Michaelis is there to clean up his mess, thankfully. And it's all the way back to Juan, who it looked like he was playing that forward from Marola to chase onto, but apparently not. Another ball forward from Juan. There is Marola this time. There is Damien. And that is number 3. And that, I can taste the trophy. The next couple of days are going to be some exciting episodes as we really, really battle with Olympiakos. But today, I think we've proven again, Olympiakos aside, there's not really much here in Greece that can challenge us anymore. We expected to get to this point eventually. I didn't expect it to be this soon. And I do expect Olympiakos to put up more of a fight again next year. But for this season, I think we've got it. I think we've got the job done. Nearly done. As the season goes on as well, we're starting to use a few more of these extra wingers we signed in the summer and never really used. Minor, we've already agreed to sell, and I'm actually semi-regretting it because I'm actually quite enjoying him now. Although he asked to go because we didn't play him early enough. But getting a Manolidis out of the way has kind of made room for some of these guys. And Capone is another one who's on the transfer list because I never played him. So he's on the transfer list at his own request, but he hasn't actually got a deal arranged yet. So if he ends up coming good, he might yet become part of the squad for next year. It's too late for Minor, but not for Capone. So hopefully he ends up being good. We're going to take Lawson off. Lawson's shattered. LeBroux can come on for him. Oh, in fact, he can't because we'd already taken Michaelis off. I thought Michaelis was still sat there. LeBroux theoretically can play centre-back, but I don't really want to take that kind of risk. So we'll take off Bozic instead and bring Duffy on and just give Duffy a little 10-minute warm-down leg stretch, really, is what he's getting here. He's not really fit enough to play. He's tired after the BESIKTAS game, but we don't want a lactic acid build-up. Go and have a 10-minute run around, Paul. You'll be fine. And we are fine too. We have won the game. I am happy with the way we've just played. And that league table is looking very fancy as we get ready. Ryan Lawson is a little jaded and can do with a rest. When's the Olympiakos game? Right, you can have a 1-week holiday, Ryan. Because I want you fit and raring and ready to go for the Olympiakos series. 1 week. I mean, he's off to play international football with Portugal now, so hopefully they won't play him. There you go. He can have a week. And then tomorrow, it's Europa League Leg 1 and the league game. And then the next day, Europa League Leg 2 and Greek Cup Leg 2. And then we've still got to play them one more time at the end of the season. Will we ever stop playing Olympiakos? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.